Store food while you can't still, because 2.4 billion people already do not have enough food as this new global famine accelerates, Michael Snyder reports. Global food supplies just keep getting even tighter, and global hunger has risen to extremely alarming levels. People on the other side of the world are literally starving to death, as I write this article, but most of us in the Western world simply do not care about the millions that are deeply suffering because the mainstream media hardly ever talks about what is happening. But the truth is that we're feeling the impact of this global food crisis too. As I warn my readers repeatedly, the primary way that this crisis would manifest itself in wealthy countries during the early stages would be through higher food prices, and that's precisely what we're witnessing. On Friday, I went to the grocery store, and a small bag of chips that I could once buy on sale for 99 cents now has a regular price of $5.99 stamped on it. Throughout the store, there were so many products that I refused to purchase because I thought that they had simply become way too expensive. But those prices are not going back down to where they once were. Food inflation is here to stay, and the entire planet is going to suffer as a result. Unfortunately, most people simply can't comprehend what is taking place on a planetary scale. As a major British news source recently noted, we're facing environmental breakdown and food system failure simultaneously. We face an epochal, unthinkable prospect of perhaps the two greatest existential threats, environmental breakdown and food system failure, converging as one triggers the other. A decade ago, some experts were optimistically talking about eradicating global hunger completely, but the number of hungry people around the world started to go back up in 2015, and things have been getting worse ever since. For many years, the number of hungry people fell, but in 2015 the trend turned and has been curving upwards since. According to the United Nations, nearly 30% of the global population does not have constant access to food right now, and there are approximately 900 million people that are facing severe food insecurity. The food security and nutrition situation remained grim in 2022. The report finds that approximately 29.6% of the global population, equivalent to 2.4 billion people, did not have constant access to food, as measured by the prevalence of moderate or severe food insecurity. Among them, around 900 million individuals faced severe food insecurity. Just think about that for a moment. 2.4 billion people do not have enough food to eat, and as global food supplies get even tighter, that number is only going to go higher. Unfortunately, in 2023, we've seen crops get devastated by natural disasters and bizarre weather patterns over and over again. For example, in areas of Vermont that have been hammered by flooding this month, many farmers have completely lost all of their crops. Farmers across our region are grappling with massive crop losses due to this week's flooding. That includes dozens of farm operations at Burlington's Intervale who are picking up pieces as they face a difficult road ahead. For us, it is kind of over until we can replant, said Hilary Martin with Diggers Mirth Collective Farm. She says the flooding was a total crop loss for everyone at the Intervale, and that her farm has already lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. We've just totaled what we lost that was in the field, about $250,000 in produce, she said. That does not include what we cannot plant for the next month. Vermont Agriculture Secretary Anson Tebbets says many farmers are in the same situation statewide. He said it will run millions of dollars. It will be extraordinary because of just the crop losses. In the middle of the country, a crippling drought is absolutely devastating corn and soybean farmers. Record-breaking heat and pockets of drought are baking farmland across the country, threatening crop yields and squeezing out any remaining wiggle room to cope with more extreme weather this summer. Throughout the Sun Belt, an extended heat wave is sending temperatures soaring into the triple digits and risking heat stress to crops. At the same time, breadbasket states in the Midwest are struggling to manage a drought that's affecting some areas for a second year in a row. Nearly 2/3 of Kansas is in severe, extreme, or exceptional drought, according to the U.S. Drought Monitor, and about half of Missouri and Nebraska are in the same rough shape. Of course, it's not just the U.S. that's being hit extremely hard. As I explained last week, tomato prices in India have gone up by 400% due to the historic disasters that nation has been dealing with. In central Canada, one farmer has not had a good crop since 2016 due to the seemingly endless drought that has plagued Saskatchewan. 7 is often considered a lucky number, but not for Tyson Jack State. That's how many consecutive years of drought his family has now gone through on their west central Saskatchewan farm near Golden Prairie. The last good crop was in 2016, he said, with the rain from that year carrying them through the next, but since then it's just been a downhill slide of drought, he said. We're in a survival mode, he said last week. Unfortunately, conditions are only going to get more difficult for farmers around the globe in the years ahead. So I would encourage you to stock up while you still can. I know that prices may seem high now, but they're only going higher. For instance, canned peaches are already quite expensive, but soon they'll cost a whole lot more because the peach state is barely going to produce any peaches at all in 2023. Midsummer is a peak of juicy peach season in the state of Georgia, but recently the peach cobbler factory in Atlanta ran out of peaches and was forced to pivot to apple cobbler. The peach state almost lost more than 90% of this year's crop after a February heat wave followed by 2 late spring frosts. The triple whammy destroyed peach varieties specifically bred to survive different weather scenarios and wildly inflated prices of the fruit. It also moved much of the local market, in some cases quite unwillingly, to California peaches. But beyond the toll this took on employment, the state economy, decades of tradition in restaurant menus, peaches are a matter of pride for Georgians. The peach is a state fruit. It's in the name of dozens of state roads. It's even on the flip side of the Georgia state quarter. So how embarrassing is this? In previous articles, I've discussed many other examples. All over the world, food producers are facing unprecedented challenges. You can't believe that things will eventually return to normal. You can if you want to believe that, but the truth is that a return to normal is simply not in the cards. We really have reached a major tipping point, and from this moment forward, we really are going to see things happen that once would have been unimaginable. This is by Michael Snyder. This is about the author. My name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled End Times is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 6 other books that are available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, Commissions Earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so that you won't miss any of my articles. I have published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and Most Important News, and the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. And this is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.